the baking heat of the African savanna, we built the world's first waterhole with a built-in camera system.
This has never been done before. We have no idea what's going to happen.
We'll follow the life cycle across 3 distinct times of the year,
Keeping track of animal behavior like never before.
This is very, very exciting.
This is the story of life
Wow.
at the Waterhole.
Good morning. Hey, Jeff.
How you doing, Bob? Thanks for talking to me
Doing
today.
great.
Live at the Waterhole. Now, this isn't about a bunch of guys hanging out their favorite bars. This is a different type of waterhole.
I don't know. I mean, I think these animals, a lot of them did like to hang out at the Waterhole. So yeah, not so unsimilar. A lot of fights too and things like that. So a lot of competition and not so dissimilar, I guess. Really great project though. Honestly, like I think that this is an important one. This was a created waterhole, right? So we rigged the waterhole with state-of-the-art cameras that were remote control. We also had a bunker right in the middle of the waterhole, so you could literally stand there with your head at water level while these big animals came in, elephants, buffaloes, giraffes, etc. But it was all done with a purpose and a reason. You know, during the peak of the dry season in Africa, you get competition at Waterhole, not just between wildlife, but also with humans. People need water. There's always more and more people out there. And so this is the conflict can get dangerous, as you can imagine. And this is a chance to separate wildlife and humans, you know, get wildlife away from those man-made wells and give them a place to drink. So why not rig it with all these cameras while we did this great experiment? And I think the footage is pretty extraordinary, fresh, and a new perspective.
Yeah, you moved 100 tons of soil, 5 miles of fiber optic cable, pumped 13,000 gallons of water. You know, because animals have an insatiable desire when they're thirsty, especially in Africa, when you have the most extreme weather conditions. And especially, you know, I'm from Las Vegas. So when temperatures rise above 100 degrees and water becomes scarce, things really started to heat up at the Waterhole, didn't it?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And I think, you know, it was amazing to watch that, as you said, like over the seasons, how the Waterhole changed things, you know, from the very beginning we started, it was, you know, peak of the dry season. And man, they you know, like the elephants and say warthogs that were in the area and elephants that can smell water from a long way away, they just came so quickly. And then, you know, to watch it change, you know, sort of the peak of the hottest time of year, then, you know, animals are just hiding during the daytime. And then at night they would come to the Waterhole. And that's when we started to see lots of hyenas and a lot of other action going on there. And then of course, during the rains, we had torrential rains and then, you know, of course, animals don't need water, but the open space of the Waterhole provided a lot of fresh grass, and you know, it was incredible to watch it change. I was at the Waterhole, but I also was out moving around a lot in my Land Rover, filming things that might come to the Waterhole. So I was tracking lions and elephants and leopards and hyenas and stuff like that. So, you know, filming all the wildlife also that was in the vicinity.
Include some frisky giraffes too.
Yeah. The giraffes are interesting. I mean, they're incredibly fast. You think of giraffes, you know, moving just so gracefully and everything, but they're so big. Every time they step, they cover a lot of ground, and they're formidable too. You know, they are not easy to kill because they're, you know, so huge, but they also can kick in any direction, and so that's how they defend themselves against lions and things like that. But they're incredibly vulnerable when they're drinking. So it was great to get that perspective at the Waterhole. You know, for a giraffe to drink, its neck is so long, it has to spread its legs out like this. And then it can, you know, put its head down. But when they're in that position, they're incredibly vulnerable. So they're very cautious around a Waterhole, and they do rely on all the other animals that are there, you know, impalas and zebras and things like that, so they can sort of help eyeballs on the situation, make sure there are no predators in the area.
Bob, this is some amazing footage. I've seen so many nature shows over my life, and this is just, you think you've seen it all, but simply putting some cameras at a watering hole and capturing this incredible behavior. And especially when all these animals are so thirsty, they kind of call a truce sometimes, don't they? Because they all mortal enemies will drink at the same time. So it's just incredible footage. So congratulations on an incredible 3-part series on PBS.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me.